Hi everyone. Just got back from walking, so I'm not dressed and I'm sure you don't care. But anyway, I figured if I have to get dressed every time I do a video, I'll never do any videos, and that's it. So here we go. All right. So today I'm going to make Moo Shu Shrimp. And I'm already heating up the pan, and I chopped everything already because in the interest of time, because I think my videos are too long. So I'm trying not to make them too long. So here you'll see all the ingredients that are required. Why can't I ever turn this around? Well, anyway. So here we have cabbage, right? I shredded it up. This is only half of a head of cabbage. This is about half a pound of shrimp. This was peeled and deveined already, which is great to have in your freezer because all I did was take it right out of the freezer about 15 minutes ago, put it in water, and it defrosts. I like mushrooms, so I'm putting mushrooms in there. Sesame oil is a must. Soy sauce or tamari. If you can't have soy, tamari is a great substitute for soy, but I can have soy, so I'm using soy today, so I'll take that away. Garlic powder, you know I always use that. Ginger, again, this minced ginger is delicious and $1.29 at Big Ocean State Job Lot. Black pepper, which I recently discovered, it's much hotter than black pepper, so you have to use only a little bit. Salt, maybe a little bit of salt, because of course the soy sauce, has salt in it. A really thinly sliced onion. I like it thinly sliced because it goes well with the cabbage. And then here is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, so now all you have to count here is the cornstarch, which is 1 tablespoon. The soy sauce is in here and a little bit of water, and I just mixed it up to put in later after I get my stuff cooked. And then here, and again, you never have to use a lot of oil, right? Because we don't want to use up those points. So this is a teaspoon of the sesame oil and a teaspoon of my garlic infused oil. And if you follow me, you know that I mince up a whole bunch of fresh garlic, and then I put it in olive oil and let it infuse in the refrigerator, and I use it often when I cook. Okay, so let's just get started. I already started this heating, so I'm going to mix it around. So this is the sesame oil. I have it on medium-high heat. I have a wok, which is the best thing to use, but I know a lot of people don't use the woks, so I wanted to do it in something that you might have at home, so that we wouldn't be using anything that you don't use. Now, here's the onion. I like to put that in first. So what made me think of this was I'm always looking up recipes, and I had this leftover shredded cabbage. I get it at Best Yet, or if it's marked down. I don't ever buy it because I'm too cheap. I don't ever buy the shredded cabbage pre-made. I usually cut it myself, but I happen to have it left over, and I'm like, what do I do with this cabbage? So I started looking up cabbage recipes, and there were a lot of wonderful ones. And then I remembered that Moo Shu, which is one of my favorite Chinese dishes, is cabbage. Okay, so now we'll just add all this. Is cabbage. And so I took the shredded cabbage. So I took that shredded cabbage, and I started cooking it up. And at that point, I still didn't think of Moo Shu. I just said, oh, give me a little olive oil. I'll cook it up. I'll eat it as a side dish. And then I had this leftover chicken because I had made chicken soup. And again, if you don't like shrimp, use chicken. Sometimes I just take the chicken breasts out of the freezer. I put them in water like I did with this, defrost them quick, and cut them up and throw them in here. But anyway, so I'm cooking this shredded cabbage with some garlic and oil. I'm like, okay, I'll make it a side dish. And then I'm like, this is Moo Shu. Duh. So I got out my sesame oil. At this point, we can put the ginger in. This way the ginger flavor gets infused in there. So I put in a nice heaping teaspoon of ginger, but I like ginger. It's all according to what you like. I also, something that I didn't write in there, I also use 5-spice powder. only because I happen to have it on hand. This is Chinese 5-spice powder. As you can see, it's like older than me. You only need a tiny bit. So I'm going to put a drop of that in there because it has a very, very, and you don't have to use that. I mean, I don't always use that. But if you have it, use it. Oops. I tell you, just got that for Christmas and it's busting. But anyway, garlic powder. Ginger in there. Oh my goodness, the Chinese 5-spice, you can't put a lot because it will just overtake the dish. But if you can find it, and you can find it in a lot of places these days, when it starts to cook with the ginger, oh my God, it makes you long for the food. It makes you long for the dish you're making. So, so good. I'm going to start adding some soy sauce just so that it gets a little mixed in here. And I'm going to add my mushrooms. Now, as you can see, this is going quickly. So this is a really, you know, you don't want this so cooked down that, you know, you take all the health benefits out of it or that it's mushy. You don't. You want it a little crispy. And add a little more soy sauce. You want the soy sauce infused, right? And with the half a head of cabbage, you can even use a bigger pan than this. I have a bigger pan. I probably should have used it. I might just switch over because I like my cabbage not to be steamed as much as I like it sauteed. And whenever vegetables are baked or sauteed, see, I just changed it over. Sorry about that little switch. But you can make less and you don't need as big a pan. I just want this for a couple of days, so. And when I decided before I started making this, see, this fits much better. What I decided before I started making this was that I'm going to use, because I don't have Moo Shu pancakes, you can either eat this over rice by itself, which is perfectly wonderful. I did it the other day because I had no points left and I just wanted, all I did was count the oil and the cornstarch, which 2 teaspoons of oil and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch in the whole entire dish. You only need half of it. You're not, you know, what do you have, 2 points? So I decided that I don't have Moo Shu pancakes and today that I do want to use pancakes. So put it in something. So what I'm going to use is, I'm going to use flour tortilla and take a tiny drop of sesame oil and just heat it up in a fry pan. So you can do that, or you can not use it at all. Oh, 5-spice smells so good, and so does the ginger. So, and of course, there's garlic in here also because, and I like a lot of garlic. There's garlic in here also because, you know, I have that infused garlic in the oil that I had minced up. So that's really good. And I love the mushrooms. And I'll tell you what else I put in here, but I don't have them on hand. And if you do, definitely do it because it gives it a little added crunch. Are the bean sprouts. If you have any bean sprouts hanging around, definitely use those. And, you know, you see how brown you want it. You see how you know, how much flavor you want, and you adjust the soy sauce to that. So, and you can use any soy sauce. Like, this is not actually Kikkoman anymore. This is actually Chinese restaurant soy sauce that I collected and put back into the jar. Sorry, Kikkoman. So, up here. Because this is a trusty little so you can see the steam coming off there. And like I said, this is pretty quick. I mean, so now what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to just move this stuff over a little bit because I want the shrimp to cook evenly. And if it's, you know, mixed up in here, it might not. And what I'm going to do is, because it's better. I'm going to pat these dry. So you want to pat these dry, the shrimp, because this way they don't boil. They actually like sear. I like them to sear a little bit. So then I put those in there, right? And I want to cook them up a little separately, like I said, so that they get cooked evenly. If I put them right into the cabbage here, they probably won't cook that evenly. So, and at this point, I'll put a little salt on them and a drop of this very strong pepper and garlic powder, of course, because if you know me, you know that everything I cook gets garlic powder. All right, so the soy sauce was put in there ready. I have all these spices, and the shrimp's cooking up. And the reason I'm doing it in the same pan, first of all, because it's easier to show you, but second of all, because I want the flavor of the shrimp in the dish. And if you cook them in the same pan, that's going to happen, right? So, meantime, let's keep turning this. Now, of course, eggs are zero also. If you want to scramble up an egg and throw it into this Moo Shu mix, it captures some of the soy sauce and some of the flavors in the egg, and that's really good too. I did that one time. So we're almost done, like, par cooking the shrimp, right? So soon I'll just incorporate it in with the garlic, with the cabbage, because we want the flavor of the shrimp in with the cabbage, right? So let's do that. Looks good, smells good. Whole entire thing, maybe 4 points, just because of the oils. I think it's one point a teaspoon. And the cornstarch, actually I think it's 3 points for this whole entire pan. All right, so now I'm going to add a little more soy sauce. Ooh, my goodness. Getting it all over. And we're almost ready. You know, I don't want it too crispy. I want it cooked, obviously. And I have this on high, by the way, because, you know, if you're stir frying, it's going to be high anyway, right? So this is on high. Onions, cabbage, garlic, sesame oil, and you know what? I'm going to add another teaspoon of sesame oil because it tastes so amazing to this cornstarch mixture, okay? I'm just going to mix that in there. And we're almost ready to put that in. And if it's too thick once you put it in, just add some water. Okay. We actually need a little water in this, so we just kind of add a little water. See, this is rudimentary cooking. Obviously, I'm not a chef, so, you know, we compromise as we go. Okay, so now let's add that cornstarch, sesame oil, water, soy sauce mixture. Definitely need a little more water, make some sauce. And again, whoa! Gotta love it. Almost lost my phone. Okay, and that's it. So that's it. So this here you have Moo Shu Shrimp with half a head of cabbage, half a medium thinly sliced onion. As I said, you can put bean sprouts in there. I have a small can of mushroom stems and pieces. Turn that off. Get my dish. And as I said, I'm going to use the, you can also put shredded carrots in there. That's another idea. Shredded carrots are another good idea. So as I said, I'm going to use a flour tortilla for this. I'll heat it up and I'll put it in. But yeah, you can put shredded carrots in here as well. A lot of shrimp. And I'm eating half of this for my lunch. And by the way, I do have hoisin sauce. You should, one of the things that they generally give you is hoisin sauce for this. I'm going to just put a little drop more soy sauce. I love the soy sauce. And there you have it, Moo Shu Shrimp. And you can use chicken, as I said, if you don't like fish. And you can use a flour tortilla, or you can, there are some wonderful recipes. It's just flour, water, and a little salt. But it's a little involved. You have to make a dough to make the Moo Shu pancakes. But you can do it. But I'm going to use a flour tortilla, put a little tiny drop of sesame oil. I'll brush it on so that I don't use, I don't even use a point. And then I'll just heat it up in the pan. Put some hoisin sauce on it. I haven't looked that up. I don't know the point value for the hoisin sauce. And then put this in there. And there's my lunch. Low point lunch. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.